What up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. Taking a look at the market. It's April 7th, 2022, Thursday. Bitcoin's looking like Bitcoin. It's kind of just moving sideways. There's not really much happening with Bitcoin today or yesterday. Yesterday it corrected some, but it's doing exactly what we thought it would do, and it's testing support levels which are holding strong. I mean, the support level, I know a lot were calling for 44.5k as a primary support that couldn't be broken, but the support level that we've been representing on the channel, it bounced off it perfectly. I can get even closer look at it. If we take a look at the daily chart here, we came right into support, and as soon as we came into support, we bounced back up. So I think that is a healthy sign. Bouncing off support is always something that shows strength, because that means that there's enough buys layered in at this level that the price couldn't go lower. So I'm hoping that we remain in a consolidation zone for the remainder of the Bitcoin conferences, although I suspect that there's still going to be more updates being pushed out. There were quite a few today that were pretty bullish. Kathy Wood was there. Michael Saylor was there. Stripe made an announcement, which was big. So there's a lot going on in the crypto space. It has a great future. I think Kathy even came out predicting that she thinks that Bitcoin by 2030 will be $1 million per Bitcoin. And that would change lives for anybody watching the stream today. 2022, having $1 million Bitcoin would be monumental to so many people. So we'll for sure be monitoring the price. I think we continue to be boring. We'll see how the S&P does tomorrow. I think that's going to be kind of telling on how we go into the weekend. But I think we did get some of this pullback because of Yellen's meeting. She came out basically wanting to put a bunch of regulation around stable coins and things like that. And whenever they tend to speak, it tends to drive price down, because their first things that they communicate are regulation, control, why this is dangerous. They don't always boast about the ingenuity or the use cases or how this could help the financial system out of its decades old painful process that it's in. That said, Bitcoin's looking healthy in my opinion. If we break this support level, I'll be a little bit more bearish, but until we break this weekly trend line that's held since 2020, I'm going to remain bullish. If this breaks, the next stop we have, in my opinion, is going to be in the 28k, 30k region, is the next really strong support level that we're going to see. So I'll be watching this closely. There's not really any altcoins that I'm super interested in. I mentioned XTZ yesterday on the stream just because, I mean, we're at a support level for it. We bounced up some from it. Not a ton. We did dip into the support. We are pumping back up slowly but surely. We've been at the 340 area, but there's just not enough volume to make any changes. There's just not enough happening in the space. So I'll probably close this out for a small gain and kind of wait for the market to give a clear direction on if it wants to, its continuation to the upside, or if it wants to retest the support. The dangerous part about it retesting support is the more often support's tested, the more likely it is to break. And the same goes for the upper levels here too, as far as the resistance. We came close to testing it. We didn't get close enough the second time. So this 47k area has been kind of a nightmare for us. We pump past it, break down, go ahead and come close to touching it, break down. So it's getting tested over and over again, but the more that resistance gets tested, the weaker it gets as well. So I'm interested to see. I think my prediction is towards the end of next week, we start to see more strong continuation to the upside. We'll see if that's the case. Some breaking news might come out in the meantime that changes the direction of the market. Until then, I'm completely happy going sideways, letting the RSI indicators cool off, letting the market cool down. This is a healthy period. People take their profits. You just don't want to see it break support structures. So taking a look at the Fear and Greed Index, we're up a couple points from yesterday, or a few points from yesterday. We're at 37. We're still in fear territory, which is great. If you follow the stream, you know that we are buyers at fear territory. The more fear that is in the market, like last month, you would have missed the shot up from Bitcoin if you were in this extreme fear category last month and keeping your hands away from looking at any type of setups or having a plan for any type of bullish momentum. So 37 I'm happy with. I'm happy to be in fear territory, especially since we haven't really began the full bull run. We made great progress getting in the 40K region, but it's really the 50 and 60K regions that are going to be telling if we're back into the bull market. So looking at this, the couple of news articles that I found today, this one was amazing to hear. Jack Mallers' announcement, Strike integration with Shopify. So if you follow the stream, you know that we post out the announcement that Jack Miller was the Stripe CEO and was caught taking a picture in front of a Chase ATM, flipping it off. And a lot of people had reminisced to the time where Steve Jobs was flipping off IBM. And he was wearing an Apple hat when doing so. And a lot of people took that to mean that Stripe may be working with Apple Pay, which is still a possibility. There may be an announcement coming soon that integration is on the horizon. But this is a huge takeaway in itself that Strike integrates with Shopify. Shopify is enormous. I mean, it opens up the doors to hundreds of vendors. So I'm very, very, very excited about this. In the last speech of its day, Jack Mallers made some big announcements for Bitcoin 22 in Miami. In his talk, the Strike CEO announced the integration with Strike with Shopify, which is now live, as well as a partnership with NCR and Blackhawk. Contrary to the rumors that began circulating last month, the Strike partnership with Apple, Mallers did not announce a partnership with Apple today. The rumors stem from Mallers' oblique reference to Apple on Twitter, such as archived clips of Steve Jobs and early Apple announcements. He also revealed that public should expect an important announcement at Bitcoin 22, which teased leading up to today's announcement. Instead, Mallers began his speech with a brief history of credit cards, starting with the Diners Club in 1949. He argued that these companies, including Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, have settled payments in essentially the same way since then, relying on a series of intermediaries to settle funds. Furthermore, Mahler emphasized the fact that merchants do not receive full payments from their customers, but instead have to sacrifice earnings to process fees. 100% right. He's spot on when it comes to it. So many more Americans will now be able to make purchases via the Lightning Network for goods and services. This is extremely bullish. I was so happy to see it. The more integrations, the better. Get Bitcoin out there to the public. And Miss Yellen. I don't think we could have older people in politics fighting against us. I wish that there was some type of address where we could publicly have a debate with any of these politicians on the weaknesses and the strengths of cryptocurrency and see what they actually know. And base that on if they should be the ones creating the regulation. no understanding of the technology of the product, is my assumption. So how can you regulate it if you don't understand it? They're dinosaurs, and they're pushing back on cryptocurrency, blockchain innovation because it's uncomfortable and new and scary, and it upsets the status quo. A digital dollar could become a trusted money compared to physical cash, U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen said in her first speech on digital assets on Thursday. Speaking to attendees in an American university event, Yellen highlighted the extreme divergence of perception about crypto, saying that's often the case with transformative technologies. She's right. Some proponents speak as if the technology is so radically and beneficially transformative that the government should step back completely and let innovation take its course. People don't say that. People are for regulation, but regulation that makes sense, regulation that is smart, regulation that doesn't put a stop on innovation for the fact of putting stop on regulation. You don't make things difficult to make them difficult. On the other hand, skeptics see limited, if any, value in this technology and associated products and advocate that the government take a much more restrictive approach. The development of our currency to its current form has been a dramatic process that took place over centuries. Today, monetary sovereignty and uniform currency have brought clear benefits for economic growth and stability. So, I read through this entire article. One of the huge takeaways that I saw is the fear that she had of the stable coins not actually being quote unquote backed by anything. And my first question would be what is the backing of the US dollar? It used to be gold before Reagan. The answer is nothing. The US dollar is backed by absolutely nothing, but we're going to hold that to Bitcoin. You can't, you got to play even, you got to play fair. It's just I can't wait for the day where they understand or have an understanding of how impactful and life-changing that this is for a lot of people, and that they were the barriers that we had to cross. They're going to be on the wrong side of history, and I hope it's sooner rather than later. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Wood and Saylor evangelized for Bitcoin in Miami. The key takeaways: Cathie Wood and Michael Saylor sat together for a fireside chat in Bitcoin 22 in Miami this morning. In their conversation, both Wood and Saylor reiterated their optimistic takes on the future of Bitcoin. Saylor's firm MicroStrategy is famous for accumulating Bitcoin, and Wood's ARK Invest is known for investing in disruptive technologies, which Bitcoin is that. Cathie Wood and Michael Saylor, the respective CEO of ARK Invest and MicroStrategy, appeared for a fireside chat. They're famous for their optimism and the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and often credited with popularizing Bitcoin among traditional investment firms. In a talk titled "The Future's Bright," both Wood and Saylor spoke in optimistic tones about the future of cryptocurrency. Notably, both Wood and Saylor concurred that the regulatory landscape surrounding cryptocurrency seems friendlier towards the space in recent months, and they commented on the apparent shifting views of regulators. I hope so. I haven't seen too much of a turn yet. They are a lot more on the inside than I am, so I'm taking their word for it at face value, but my guess is that it's going to be a slow and painful process getting this regulation out, and I think they're going to go out kicking and screaming, but I could be wrong. The last thing that I thought was really great is Saylor's MicroStrategy, which provides business intelligence software, has made waves in recent years as Bitcoin's institutional whale, accumulating billions of dollars of Bitcoin since August 2020. The company currently owns 125,000 Bitcoin, valued at around $5.4 billion. In March, MicroStrategy, a branch of MicroStrategy, borrowed $215 million from Silvergate in order to buy more Bitcoin. The cool part was here, Sailor closed with both a warning and advice to his audience. If you want to turn $250 million into $6 billion, then buy Bitcoin, not gold. He continued, if I had bought $250 million in gold, I would have $250 million in gold instead of $6 billion in Bitcoin. Chad, it's absolutely correct. He's a little bit loopy at times. I mean, he's definitely offers a rocker. He's either going to be dubbed one of the best investors of all time, or he's going to be crazy. He's going to get absolutely slammed if Bitcoin drops below his average buy-in price, if that day ever does come. But if not, ahead of his time. So he's willing to take that bet. I'm willing to take that bet on my small portfolio. That said, I'll be watching the Bitcoin price closely. I'm interested to see how the S&P opens tomorrow, see what it does. I'm hoping that we have a kind of a slow weekend. My prediction as of right now is support continues to hold, and I think towards the end of next week we start to retest the resistance zones that we have, and I think the end of next week kicks off the bull market again. But we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the charts can tell us different things on different days. That's what I'm reading now. So we'll give an update tomorrow and see where we're at. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. I hope you have an even better Friday. And I'll catch you in the next video. Till then, peace.